Can one gain fortitude and become the best version of themselves after beating alcoholic addiction? They can, but they probably won't if they're engaging in the AA method. Stay tuned and I'll explain why. During my brief interval when I attended a few meetings in AA in different locations, it was disconcerting to witness the minority of members who actually stayed sober using the techniques established by Alcoholics Anonymous. One would expect to see in these people an aura of empowerment from those who managed to beat a very difficult addiction that leads to the death of many who did not defeat it. For the strongest people in the universe are not those who had life handed to them easily, but underwent tragedy and came back from it. Those who always walk the straight line should be admired and modeled for certain, but the greatest victories are the ones who completely torpedoed their own lives and managed from the bottom of the abyss to not only climb out of it, but to reach a high summit of greatness. That isn't what I witnessed in those few longtime sober members in the rooms. What I saw in the sages of the circle, those who pontificated to the newly sober that you must follow the AA principles, were not people of tranquility. They were cult-like in their mantras as they smoked those cigarettes at the breaks in between the circle story time of rehashing their once catastrophic lives, which they never emotionally left behind. None of them resembled ones on a fitness program or a clean diet, noted by the sugar, nicotine, and caffeine dump that they engaged in 5 and 6 nights a week. They certainly weren't advancing themselves other than their status as a forever addict leader, among other forever addicts who claimed they would never be relieved of that status. By the time I entered the rooms, I was 11 months sober. I was halfway through the long protracted withdrawal phase, which can continue up to 2 years from the last consumption of John Barleycorn's magical potion. I was on a highly active physical fitness program and a meditative program 5 days a week. I was advancing my own career and continuing education in the physical therapy realm. I was writing books, fiction and nonfiction. I wanted to see if AA had anything else to offer in my own reinvention of self, for I had family members who had ventured into the rooms before and already had great familiarity with AA meetings but wanted to investigate for myself. I listened to the senior members who spoke frequently. I felt not only no commonality with them, but that we were polar opposites. Perhaps if I'd entered the rooms right after the initial 5-day detox, I would have been drawn into AA's 12 steps and mantras. For no one is strong in this phase of recovery toward cure. I was in the most weakened state I could ever remember. But I didn't enter the rooms at that time. I went through the second phase of intense cravings and cognitive chaos that lasted the 30 to 45 day mark. Day 45 clean was the first day I could say I felt good since I ended the friendship with Johnny B. That was the day I began the reconstruction of self. By the time I had entered the rooms, I'd built a great deal of fortitude. And when one possesses fortitude, it is very easy to decipher someone else who doesn't have it. It was extremely evident that the methods of Alcoholics Anonymous not only did not make participants strong, but created a continual weakness in its members. If your life is sober but you are taken hostage by the very group that claims to help you, you do not have strength. You have a new emotional addiction. Your psyche is addicted to the AA cult. You have become someone who is afraid to leave the safe haven and live in the real, although sometimes uncomfortable world that the rest of us exist in without an hourly meeting most nights to escape from it. The first reason that the AA method creates weakness in its members lies within the physical plane. Everyone, not just former alcoholics, should be taking care of their physical sphere. The 2 points to a person's physicality are fitness and diet. Most of us don't work the land today. We have become the most sedentary and out-of-shape people that has ever existed in the history of mankind. Many who never drank excessively are developing health problems due to rampant obesity and the lack of movement, where the McDonald's bag sits in front of the continuous stream from the iPhone. My recovery plan includes physical fitness engagement 4 to 5 times a week. I spend an hour and a half at the gym, 13 rounds of that in Thai boxing for cardio, and 40 more minutes of weightlifting. But you don't have to lift weights or as long as I do. You don't even have to join a gym. Just find some cardio engagement for 45 minutes to an hour, 4 to 5 days a week, and that will suffice for a lifetime of excellent health. It could be as simple and inexpensive as speed walking right from your doorstep after work. The second tier to the physical reinvention is the diet. I wrote in my own work, Reinvention of Self, How to Change Your Life and Being Forever, that if exercise is the foundation of your reconstruction, then the diet is the cement that holds the bricks together. You don't have to give up caffeine, just keep it to a minimum, like my daily 2 cups of coffee. You have to minimize sugar intake as well. I have 1 small dessert a day. The meal should consist of good carbs and proteins and many vegetables. I have a few vegetable and fruit smoothies daily to cover this intake. As I stated, the physical reinvention is the foundation of your new mansion. AA's foundation is built on rotten wood. They ingest sugar, caffeine, and nicotine in every meeting. And what type of exercise is the member doing if he's spending his evenings locked away in those rooms? The chances are he is not engaging in fitness at all. Those in the circle don't concentrate on advancement of self, they focus on their never-ending recovery. So their physicality is not only not improving, it is being weakened by the very group that claims to help them. The second plane that's being weakened by AA is the emotional realm. In my program, it's essential to regain a calm mindset. This is not only good for a person's physiology, but helps reduce cravings in the first 6 months to a year. It doesn't matter whether you prefer yoga or Zen meditation, as long as you have a program that's engaged with the physical routine. The 2 planes work in harmony. If one is physically healthy, then he tends to be mentally at peace, and mental tranquility makes one more likely to continue to stay in good physical health. It becomes a vicious cycle, but in a positive way. Alcoholics Anonymous members are not only not building strength in the emotional plane, they are actively weakening it. Some have claimed they do engage in meditation activities, which are usually prayer-oriented in their rooms, and this would be fine if those events weren't negated by the toxicity of that constant regurgitation of the past. Not only does the member rehash his own dark existence from his alcoholic days, he gets to live it over and over with the same stories from the other members in the circle. Also, the labels of forever addict and forever diseased are psychic poison for the newly sober. AA is declaring these souls to be in this weakened status for the rest of their lives. Their psyches will not become ones of fortitude, they will transform to a mental worldview of deficient. The potential for advancement in career or outside endeavors will also be hindered by the AA philosophy. For anything in life that's worth pursuing will not only take effort, but a belief that these goals are achievable and deserving of the individual who has entered the arena to obtain them. This is the warrior mindset, but it isn't all just belief. Much of the progression in life is the ability to construct a strong strategy and the willingness to get back up when you fail. Mental resolve is something that can be built from nothing. There are those who are simply born with mental fortitude, but there's also countless stories of many who created it from an empty well. You will not achieve advancement of self if your time revolves around a forever recovery in AA meetings. First, your off time is spent sitting in that very circle. Time is very limited in our existences. If one is going to pursue greatness, that path does not lie in the negative aura of the rooms. If a former alcoholic just spent that evening hour to improve his life, he would find great outcomes at the end of even the first year sober. There's also that factor of damage to the psyche in the rooms. I just mentioned that in order to achieve success in anything, one has to believe he's deserving of that success. If one unconsciously does not think himself worthy of greatness, that mindset will reflect in any pursuance of it. He is already defeated and will most likely quit at the first obstacle and run back to those rooms for assurance. Ponder this for a minute, AA member. Your priority for the rest of your life is staying sober. But after 6 months, you are sober. At 2 years, the protracted withdrawal phase is over and you can claim cure. You don't have to forever focus on some method which fails the majority. You simply keep your contract of never touching the offending substance ever again. Your mindset should be one of deserving good things, healthy things in your life, not a worldview that you are a deficit, diseased, forever addict. And if you lose the rooms, you will now have the time to pursue all those good things. Because Alcoholics Anonymous shuts the door to reinvention of self. It is literally walking its members down a path that descends into an abyss, physically and emotionally. I, like the members of the rooms, also do believe in the spiritual plane. But my definition of this sphere is how you look at yourself as an integral part of the universe. Are you living the best version of yourself in these planes above? If you do an honest look at the AA method, you will find that they haven't been enhancing these planes, but weaken every single one of them. And that is why I contend a person's alcoholic recovery should not include the methods propagated in the rooms. It should consist of every aspect of your being advancing to the best version that is possible. Now, if you found this content helpful, go ahead and follow along and subscribe. And for my condensed version of how to reconstruct your life, check out Reinvention of Self, How to Change Your Life and Being Forever. Link is in the description, usually free on KDP. And remember, keep your contract, be sober at sundown, and I will see you at the next sunrise.